Meta, the trillion-dollar company behind Facebook and Instagram, just argued in federal court that pirating books and sharing them with strangers on BitTorrent is fair use. And somehow that's not even the craziest part of this story. So here's the background. Meta have been getting sued since 2023 by a bunch of authors. Now, I will tell you their names, but I know you or me don't read books. So just know there's a lot of authors suing Meta right now because Meta downloaded millions of copyrighted books from pirate sites to train their Llama AI models. We're talking shadow libraries such as Anna's Archive, LibGen. Definitely sites I would never use to download PDFs of books. Yeah, I definitely will pay for. I mean, books are expensive nowadays. Have you seen how expensive some books are? When I need computer science books, I can't afford it anymore, okay? These sketchy corners of the internet, the government actively tries to shut down and prosecute people for running. But Meta went straight there and torrented millions of books and fed them straight into AI. Now, it's one thing a broke student trying to get PDF files to, study, and there's another thing for a trillion-dollar company who have the money and resources to get these books very easily. There are two different issues here. Now, last year, the court actually ruled that using pirated books to train AI qualified as fair use, which was already kind of insane. But there was one charge Meta just could not shake. That was by using BitTorrent to download these books, they were also uploading them to other people, because that's how BitTorrent works. You download, you upload, it's baked into the protocol. So the author said, cool, even if their training is fair use, you're still distributing pirated copies of our books to random strangers on the internet. That's just straight up copyright infringement. And Meta's defense was, we used BitTorrent because it was a more effective and reliable means of obtaining the datasets. And in the case of Anna's Archives, those datasets were only available in bulk through torrent downloads. Translation, we had to pirate them because pirating was the only way to get that many at once. Come on, that is not the legal defense you think it might be. That's like robbing a bank and then telling the judge you had to rob them using the front door because the vault just doesn't have a drive-through. You're still stealing the books. You're just doing it in mass and using a pirate torrent site to do it. That doesn't make anything more valid. Their argument is basically an Ouroboros because they're saying the court already said training the AI is fair use. We needed the books to train the AI. BitTorrent was the only way to get the books in bulk. Therefore, torrenting pirated books to strangers is also fair use. And then, I genuinely did not expect this. Meta threw in that their AI work has helped establish America's leading position in the global AI race. They're basically saying pirating books is patriotic now. I can't even be mad. That's an incredible thing to say with a straight face in a court filing. The author's lawyer fired back, calling this an improper end run around the discovery deadline because Meta dropped this brand new defense on a Friday night, right on the court deadline. They'd known about these BitTorrent claims since 2024 November and never once mentioned fair use as a defense for the uploading, even when the judge specifically asked about it. The author's lawyer straight up said Meta is trying to create a loophole for itself. Meta's response was essentially, we flagged this in December 2025. Your own attorney addressed it at a hearing, so stop lying. So now we got the lawyers arguing about whether one lawyer lied about what the first lawyer said. Peak legal content here. Here's where it gets interesting though. Meta's filing also uses the author's own testimony against them. Every single named author in the case has admitted that they don't know of any instance where the Llama AI actually reproduced content from their books. For example, Sarah Silverman, an author who is involved in this case, was asked if it mattered that Meta's model never output language from her book, and she said, and I quote, "It doesn't matter at all," which respectively is a problem for your case because the whole legal framework around fair use heavily weighs whether there's an actual market harm. And if the AI isn't spitting out your book and your book sales haven't dropped because of it, well, the court has very little to work with. The judge who ruled in Meta's favor last year literally said this ruling doesn't mean Meta is in the clear. It just means these specific authors made the wrong arguments and failed to build the right evidence, which is very odd. I never thought to see a case like this where the court is backing a trillion-dollar company saying it's okay to steal their work and feed it into an AI bot, essentially. Yeah, crazy work here. But look, put the legal strategy aside for a second. A company worth over $1 trillion downloaded millions of books from pirate websites, sites that authors and publishers have spent years trying to shut down. They straight up fed them into an AI, shared them with randos on the internet in the process. And now they're arguing in court that all of this is fine because AI is really good and America is winning. Internal emails apparently showed that Meta executives knew this was legally sketchy. It was escalated all the way up to Zuckerberg himself for approval. They rolled the dice knowing the risk, and so far the dice have kept landing in their favor. Now, the judge overseeing this now has to decide whether to let Meta run with this defense. If he does, it sets a precedent that could affect every other AI lawsuit involving shadow libraries and potentially many other aspects of AI and copyright. If he doesn't, the BitTorrent claim goes to trial without Meta's strongest card. Either way, we're watching a $1 trillion company argue with a straight face that pirating books and selling them to strangers is just the cost of innovation. And honestly, if any of us tried this defense on a torrent lawsuit, yeah, we'd be laughed out of the courtroom. But when you got Meta's legal budget, apparently you get to redefine what piracy means. And with that, that's it for today's video. If you need more content, make sure to check out this video over here. Now, I'm gonna go to sleep. See ya.